I'm coming. Hi, Mr. Jules. Yeah, hi, sorry, I'll wait in the car. She's on the call.
Come at me, bro!
Let's make some coffee.
Oh, solid steel camel!
Ben with it. Transport.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Alex's Toy Show. It's Q&A number 103, right there. Last week we did 102, and we did a bonus Q&A with Feisty Pants, and we had Feisty Pants questions. It was a feisty Q&A. I'll link it. It was a hit. We're building some more questions. See, I got a couple for him, but we need more. So ask away. Ask all week long. Ask me questions. Ask him questions. We'll do some every Sunday as long as we have enough questions. How about that camel? Solid steel. Damn it, that man had a family. It was hilarious. So I'm taking a break from watching The Intern with Anne Hathaway and Robert De Niro. I'm a movie critic, as a lot of you guys know, and I love my movies. And this is actually one of the best movies I have seen in a good while. First question, if you haven't seen it, you have to watch it. It's all about relationships. Everything is about relationships. And not just between people, but also between a person and their job, a person and their bosses. You know, there's other things. People and things, people and people, people and objects. Relationships. Google it. But watch the movie, it's good. David Griffin's going to lead us off this week. Your thoughts on Muhammad Ali passing. It was a very sad day. I know he's been struggling for some years now with a couple of different things, and from me, who has lost a number of elders in their family, knowing somebody is getting closer to their end is not really any easier for, you know, when it comes time to let them go. So, as much as it sucks, I mean, at least he's not suffering anymore. I mean, you could say that. But, I mean, it's sad. It's totally sad. Second question from David. Your thoughts on Goldberg being a pre-order for WWE 2K17 and a possible Brock Lesnar feud for WrestleMania 33. I doubt it. I mean, whatever. You know, I think it depends... It depends on the roster that 2K17 would present. I would need to know all the the whole roster, and I would need to know why Goldberg is a pre-order character. For me, you know, like if it was, you know, like if I had to design the roster itself, you know, maybe you make some NXT guys. Well, no, because I would make those guys unlockable. Or something. I don't know. I mean, I guess, if it comes down to Goldberg being, you know, the guy who you get for a pre-order, I mean, whatever. I mean, they did it with the Terminator, so for, was it Mortal Kombat? One of the Mortal Kombats, I think? I don't remember. Whatever. I'm sure there's a reason behind it. But he's not going to feud with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 33. Come on! Be real. How happy are you that Grimm has 2 rings? Hey, that's what he needs, man. I don't know. I guess. How bad was New York, New Jersey when Superstorm Sandy hit? It was really bad. You know, I was just talking with Jesse this morning about the shootings in Orlando. I mean, it's like her backyard, basically. And, you know, there was the girl the day before. For the girl, I forget her name, the girl from The Voice. And then the shooting at the nightclub. And... you know, it's one thing when it's like, oh my god, oh, you know, look at this in Orlando. But it's another when it's your backyard. And, you know, I was saying, I saw her messaging, so I knew she was okay, because you can't message from the dead. So, you know, so I knew she was okay. But, you know, we were talking anyway. But I mean, I remember when Sandy hit, and, you know, it was a little windy the day before. I mean, it was a lot windy the day before. We were starting our overnight shifts for the Christmas season. It was a Sunday night. We worked our overnight. Monday came around, and Sandy hit, and we're like, okay, nobody's going to work that day. And then I called up, and I'm like, you know, Tuesday, and I'm like, what's the deal? Are we working? I mean, obviously, we were out of power, no lie, for like 3-4 days. And then there was a winter storm like a snowstorm right behind Sandy that knocked us out. It was like a total of 2 weeks. For me, we were out of power. It was like maybe 13 and a half days. Like on the 14th day, we got our power back. And it was rough. I mean, even for work, we were closed at 5 o'clock because the sun was going down, you know, and the whole town was under like a martial law or state emergency sort of thing. Not really martial law, but it was state of emergency, and for like a solid 2 weeks, if not longer. And there were people who were out of power for longer than 2 weeks, so it sucked. It sucked a whole lot. So, you know, thoughts and prayers to people in Orlando. I was watching the news. There was a guy who was calling his brother, and, you know, it was ringing and ringing and ringing, and now it doesn't ring, and he still hasn't heard from his brother. That sucks. You know what I'm saying? That sucks a whole lot. Which summer movies are you looking forward to seeing? Yes, I need to go see Warcraft. I may go see it today. While this is airing at 5:30 in the PM, I will be in a movie theater watching World of Warcraft. Because it's awesome. I can't wait. I want to go see Star Trek next weekend, or next month? Next month, I think it is. I think it's July. I saw X-Men. X-Men was great. There's something else I'm forgetting. Is it Doctor Strange? I think that's later. I think that's later this fall. Rogue One, I think, is the Star Wars movie. I think is December also. No, there's a lot. I know there's a lot I'm leaving out. I got a list. I got a list somewhere. It's written down because I'll forget it. Can't wait. But I'm going to see Warcraft later on. Your thoughts on Sam and Cat being finished for one season? You know, it was a spin-off, and, you know, I think it was doing fine until Ariana Grande and Jeanette McCurdy were found out how much each other were making. And, I mean, you know, they're still girls, bottom line, and girls don't always get along, like, at all. And I think, despite what Hollywood said, I think that's what did it. And it's sad because they're both funny, and they were both funny characters. And I thought they were doing pretty well for each other, and until that happened. Dave wants to know, should female players be allowed to play in Major League Baseball, and why? I would love a league for women. Like if you ever see a League of Their Own, there's girls that can play baseball. They totally can, but I don't think they belong in the majors. I think they belong in their own league, like a league of their own. You know, I'm all for reinstating the women's league. But no, just like wrestling, they do not belong in the same ring with the men. Your favorite comics to read when you were a kid? Dude, no lie, I was reading 30 comics a month. All the X-Men titles, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Captain America, Spider-Man, Spawn. When Spawn came along, I had 6 copies of Spawn #1, if not more than 6. I know I sold them all years ago to a buddy who read comics more than I did. Mike, you know who you are, Mike. Yeah, man. Me and Mike are buddies since, like, a long time ago. And I said, dude, I'm moving. I do not want to bring my comics with me. Do you want them? I gave him, like, boxes of comics. He gave me $75. I called it a day. Done. I also was collecting the Transformers series had been finished by then. The original Marvel Comics 1 through 80. It started out as a 4-issue mini-series. I was collecting that, and I read that as I got issues. Because they were hard to find. You know, they weren't everywhere you went. So I got a lot secondhand, like on eBay, and some collector shows, you know. And, you know, some were $1, some were a couple of bucks, some were a few bucks more. But I put the set together. I still have all 80 issues. And it's great. I read that. Along with, you know, 30 other Marvel titles, Marvel and DC, and Spawn. I read a lot of that other stuff that came out under Image Comics and Dark Horse, like Gen 13 and Shadowhawk and, what was the cop? Savage Dragon. Oh, the Savage Dragon was awesome. But ultimately, you know, you cut down titles and you try to follow a story, and, you know, story doesn't always pan out. Oh, you know what I did read, too? Fathom. Fathom was about a girl. I don't remember, but she had some kind of... I got 3 issues in, and I was like, wow, this is boring. What was really good, though, was Witchblade. I thought Witchblade and Spawn were probably, like, the 2 best titles out of that out of that house. Which Hall of Famer do you want to see face to face with the Terminator? What? I don't understand this question, therefore I cannot answer it. Do you think it's a good idea to put Transformers crew in a WWE game? No. I mean, no. Whatever. I don't know. If you want to. Whatever. Rob Vorgy Jr. wants to know my favorite arcade game growing up and my favorite Atari games. Favorite arcade game. I was pretty badass at Pac-Man. I'm not gonna lie. But for the Atari, it was not very good at all. For Atari, I did better with Space Invaders, Asteroids, Centipede, Combat. Combat came with Atari for a while. I was great at Combat.
Oh my God, I'll wake you.
Dig Dug. Dig Dug was pretty awesome. Galaxian. What was that other one? Galaxian? Galaga? Section Z.
Perfect. Good job.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, so.
Wow, there's too many. I can't remember them all. There's a lot. But one arcade game that came along and just blew away other arcade games, and it brought me back to arcade games that I had started out with, was Marvel superheroes. It was a lot of X-Men Marvel characters. Like, there was Captain America, there was Iron Man, there was Cyclops was one, Wolverine, Spiral from the Mojo world, a couple other guys, and Spider-Man was another, and you fought each other, and then eventually when you fought enough characters, and it was side-scrolling like Street Fighter, but it was Marvel characters, and it was awesome. The boss was Juggernaut, and then Magneto, and then in the sequel you could be Juggernaut and Magneto, and then there were other bosses. And it was just so cool. Omega Red was another guy. I forgot Omega Red. Omega Red was badass. That came along when I was older, and it's had to be the 90s, somewhere in the 90s. And I remember going on the weekends or on my days off, going with my brothers to the boardwalk in Seaside Heights just to play Marvel superheroes. And there was a crowd, and you had to put your quarters up. Oh. Good times. Marty Young wants to know CM Punk's Nexus or Wade Barrett's Nexus. I have to go with Wade Barrett. CM Punk was a cool twist to the story of the Nexus, but Wade Barrett was the Nexus, more or less. That was all Wade's project. Mike Waldron wants to know, how do you feel about Brock Lesnar going back to UFC? Good for him. I don't care either way. I'm sure I'm sure he's got a stipulation in his contract where he'll still make not WrestleMania appearances, but WWE appearances, maybe at WrestleMania. Who knows? I'm sure they got it all worked out. There's a YouTube user named Megatronus on YouTube. He commented on an older video. I'll link it for you guys. He said that Megatronus is the Fallen in the new Transformers Robots in Disguise. It was Saturday mornings, and all of a sudden Megatronus comes from an alternate dimension. And I'm like, okay, well, is it a new series and they're using the name Megatronus? Or is it a continuation of Transformers Prime, which was the last Transformers series? Which I thought it was, because a lot of characters, I mean, it took place right after Transformers Prime ended. So in Transformers Prime, there's an episode or a couple episodes where Optimus Prime loses his memory, and he recognizes Megatron as Megatronus. From their days on the council, before the rebellion and before the war started. So he went under the name Megatronus. And I'm explaining to this Megatronus YouTube user, because he's from Turkey and doesn't understand English very well. I tried responding to comments, so I'm trying to film in here. So in the episode of Transformers Prime, Optimus loses his memory and sees Megatronus, and he's like, what are we doing here? So Megatronus dropped the us and became Megatron in Transformers Prime. So if you're telling me that Megatronus from Transformers Robots in Disguise is the Fallen, then when I say what is bad continuity means that if he's going to be the Fallen, that's fine, but he shouldn't be Megatronus. He should be the Fallen, because using the name Megatronus is already Megatron, aka Megatronus from Transformers Prime. You know what I mean? So you're using a new villain with the same name. Bad continuity. So So I hope that's not it. And FaZe Crow wants to know who's my favorite current superstar. Now, granted, I haven't answered this in a solid month because people would ask every week, and they still do. It's Roman Reigns. I've been standing behind Roman Reigns for a few years now. I'm not going to just go and up and change my mind just because he gets booed. You know what I'm saying? What if you gave up on The Rock 100 years ago? And now he's The Rock. He's the greatest thing. He's greatest thing since sliced bread. Were you gonna give all of a sudden you're a Rock fan? No. Roman Reigns, standing behind him. I don't care how terrible you think he is. Don't care. There's plenty of other superstars I like too, but if you're telling me to pick one, that's who I'm picking. All right, folks, that's all there is for this episode. I'm going to see World of Warcraft. You guys need to leave your questions in the comments. I'm sorry. So we can get another Q&A and another Feisty Pants Q&A. Peace!